How would you describe your leadership style?
Guys, how's my leadership style? What I'd call inclusive. Is that a decent way to approach it? Mm-hmm. I really try not to take credit for what I've done. I want other people to do the work. I want other people to do the work, and I want other people to get the credit, because I don't do anything by myself. I've tried to go any place by yourself, and as we said once before to Karen, unless you're a lawyer in a little office reading a book, you don't get anything done in business or in the community by yourself, really. It takes people. And so the best thing is always to include other people that are smarter than you and give them the authority and responsibility to do a thing, and make sure that when they're finished they are thanked and that they get credit for what they do.
What's the difference between?
But that,
the
that's a
people?
weak answer. But that's really.
No,
I'm not very. There's so many people that are so much smarter and so much more articulate and so much more possessing in their physical stature and all that. I have to use what I've got, and that is, smart people around me, and I recognize that, and I do my best to motivate them and move them. That's what leadership is: bringing the group together, letting them know what your goals are, and enlisting their support to achieve your goals. That's leadership, and that includes other people.
Right.
The ability to motivate other people is a real skill and a real talent.
Not if you're really interested in where you're going and
Okay.
what the goals are. Not if you have a passion for what you want to achieve. You can't do it for everything that people ask you to do. You can only do it for things that you really care about.
Yeah, I just note that there are some people who will do a thing, accomplish something, even though they have used, and employed other people to do it, and then they want to take all the credit. And they was like, look what I built, look what I did, look what I, and then versus the people who have no problem sharing the credit at all. And there's some people want to hold on to that credit. You really enjoy sharing.
I've gotten far more credit than I deserve. I know that. And so I'm a little shy when people say thank you or you did this or did that. I've already been overly compensated.
What are your favorite quotes, or what is your favorite quote?
The one I've used the most often is that there's no right way to do the wrong thing. And that seems to have to, well, not have to, that's the thing that seems to come out the most often. But if I think about it, there's a lot of things I quote from time to time. I quoted Johnny Wooden earlier, and you know that. And I like quotes, but at the moment, you've stumped me.
Okay.
But that's a good quote.
It is a good quote. Can you kind of expound upon there's no right way to do the wrong thing? Can you maybe expound
Well, I
upon that?
heard that years ago
From who?
from John Buchanan, president of Prudential. And he was talking about how easy it is to drift off into small little things that weren't really transparent or the right thing to do. And he was a man of high value. And he always said, you can't cover up the wrong thing. You can't cover up something that's not right. And don't ever try to cover up something that isn't right. And don't you wish everybody felt that way? But you can't cover up mistakes for very long, and you can't cover up dishonesty very long. You can't cover up things you wish. You can't make things easier for yourself and then cover them up just because they were easier. Ways to do things.
Well, so many people, young people, young people in school, and then also people in business. There's this thing about being afraid to make mistakes, where the attitude of some people is like, oh, I've made a mistake, something's wrong with me or whatever.
Mistakes.
But mistakes are opportunities to learn from.
There are honest mistakes. Everybody makes them every day.
Mm-hmm.
My Lord, I've made more bad investments than I have good investments by number, I'm sure. But that's just a mistake. It was an honest mistake. But you have many opportunities. As a risk taker, as an entrepreneur, you have lots of opportunities to make mistakes. But you have to go back to that one thing, courage and integrity, the two things. Courage, number one, integrity, number two. And you're going to make some honest mistakes. But what we're trying to guard against is things you wouldn't want your mother to see, right? Mistakes that aren't right.
Right.
You don't appreciate dishonesty. I don't see anybody should ever honor dishonesty. Or, we're talking about these days, many things, slipping by with the least, giving the people not their full value. That's not right. People pay for something, give them the full value.
Absolutely. Yep.
Where do you find courage? I mean, you talked about courage and integrity, but, some people aren't as courageous or don't know how to muster their courage. Where do you find yours?
They would if they had strong feelings.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a philosophy of what you want to do and what you stand for, if you believe strongly in something, you got courage. There's people that don't stand for anything that don't have courage.
And where do you find your courage? Same
Well,
place?
I'm involved in things that I believe strongly about. And if I believe strongly about something, why wouldn't I have the courage to stand up and tell you?
Right.
And leaders do things, where...
And then they call.
No, but the leaders are doing things that they believe in. You have to know what you're doing, believe in what you're doing. And if you're that way, if you don't have courage, you're pretty weak.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really believe, we talked before, what are the things you really stand up for? Well, there are certain things you really stand for in life. I feel sorry for people who don't believe in anything or don't stand for anything. Gosh, what if you didn't stand for something?
Mm-hmm. How do you face and deal with fear? What are the things that you deal with in fear? Do you have things that you're afraid of?
Well, I used to sweat more when I was in fear than I do now. Yeah, I used to get more butterflies than I do now because I was growing up and maturing. And when that's happening, you don't know the consequences of mistakes as much as you do when you get older and have had a lot of experience. I really don't fear anything anymore. I really don't. I fear evil, I guess. I fear for the grandchildren's life or great-grandchildren, what kind of life they're going to have. But not like the butterflies I used to get when I was really worried about whether I was going to meet the payroll or not.
Mm-hmm. But
that was butterflies, when you don't know if you can meet the payroll.
Oh, I know. Well, do you remember a time in your life when all of a sudden it's like, when that was there a certain time or event in your life that you just came to the realization that you don't fear anything anymore?
No.
No, it's just gradual?
No. There's no pills for that.
No. I guess not.
Now, you've led a lot of organizations, and you've been in the leadership positions of a lot of organizations, and a lot of them have been very successful. What happens when you see an organization that isn't successful or is having issues? What do you do? How do you handle that?
Well, I don't know that I've ever got involved with an organization that was going downhill. I was hoping you would ask how they do after I leave, because that's always better. And I like that a lot. And maybe, you know, when you're involved in an organization, you do recruit people, and you try to recruit good people, and you try to attract people to do the same thing that you're interested in. And whether you're building a board or a committee or a campaign, you invite people you know who will do a good job. And then a leader always does his best. Number one responsibility is to grow the people under them so that you have a succession plan, and you want to make it meaningful for them. It's not for you they're doing it for something else, so you want to raise them. And always organizations, I like to think that every organization I've left has had far better leadership when I got out of there than they did when I was there. That's part of the job, make sure it gets better.